When you first see the Schlörwagen, your brain does something strange. It tries to file it under car and fails completely. It doesn't stand upright like the sedans of the late 1930s. It has no visible fenders. It doesn't try to look elegant. Instead, it looks like someone shaped a raindrop, flattened it slightly, and decided to put people inside. And here's the thing, if you parked it next to modern concept cars today, it wouldn't look out of place. That alone tells you everything about how far ahead of its time this machine really was. The man behind it was German engineer Karl Schlör. He wasn't a stylist, he was an aerodynamicist. His question wasn't, how do we make a prettier car? His question was, what happens when a road vehicle is shaped almost entirely by airflow? As early as 1936, Schlör was already proposing ultra-low drag body forms. Wind tunnel tests at the Aerodynamic Research Institute in Göttingen produced a drag coefficient as low as 0.13, a number that is almost offensive for 1939. When the full-size car was built and tested, that number rose, as it always does when theory meets reality. But even then, it settled at around 0.186. Later studies in the 1970s confirmed a figure around 0.15 for the concept. To put that in perspective, most mainstream production cars wouldn't catch up to those numbers for decades. Now, underneath that radical skin, the mechanicals were completely ordinary. The Schlörwagen used a modified Mercedes-Benz 170h chassis, a rear-engined platform with a 1.7-liter four-cylinder engine making about 38 horsepower. Nothing impressive on paper. But that was Schlör's entire point. If a car wastes less energy fighting the air, a small engine can do more useful work, and the results backed him up completely. Running the same basic powertrain as the standard 170h, the Schlörwagen hit 84 miles per hour, roughly 12 miles per hour faster than the car it was built on. Schlör believed it could reach around 91 miles per hour under the right conditions. Fuel economy told the same story. The Schlörwagen returned roughly 29.4 mpgs, compared to 19.6 to 23.5 mpgs for the standard Mercedes. That's a 20 to 40% reduction in fuel consumption from shape alone. It wasn't just weird, it was weird and right, which is always dangerous for the establishment. Its dimensions explain why it looked so strange. About 14.2 feet long, 4.9 feet tall, and an unusually wide 6.9 feet across. That width wasn't a styling choice, it was a requirement. The wheels had to sit inside the body shell to keep the airflow clean. That's what gave it that swollen, almost cartoonish silhouette from the front and rear. The underside was fully enclosed. The windows followed the body's curves rather than interrupting them. The whole car was closer to a fuselage than a vehicle. One phrase kept appearing in later commentary on this car: a wing on wheels. That's accurate. Every design instinct was subordinated to aerodynamic logic, where other manufacturers would have compromised for tradition, for aesthetics, for easier manufacturing. Schlör refused. That refusal is exactly why it still looks radical today. And here's a detail people miss when they only look at the exterior and laugh at the shape. The inside was surprisingly roomy. That wide body created a generous passenger compartment. The aerodynamics hadn't come at the expense of interior space. If anything, the unusual width created more of it. A design that's only efficient in a wind tunnel is a curiosity. A design that's efficient and spacious starts to become a serious challenge to everything conventional. Now, about that photograph with the giant propeller mounted at the rear. It looks like someone bolted an aircraft engine to a road car and called it Tuesday, but that's not what was happening. The propeller setup was a separate wartime test configuration. Engineers reportedly mounted a Russian M11 aircraft engine, about 135 horsepower, with a propeller at the rear for aerodynamic testing at Göttingen.
It was not the standard powertrain. The Schlörwagen did not normally drive this way. Those photos represent a different experiment entirely, and it's worth knowing that before the image takes on a life of its own. The Schlörwagen was shown publicly at the 1939 Berlin Motor Show, where it immediately attracted the kind of attention that uncomfortable designs always do. People couldn't stop staring, but they weren't entirely sure what they felt about it. It picked up nicknames: the Göttingen egg, the pillbug. Flattering? No, but those nicknames confirm something important. People recognized it as unusual, even if they weren't ready for it. This pattern repeats constantly in automotive history. First, people laugh. Then, quietly, they copy the good ideas once the shock wears off. The war ended any real chance the Schlörwagen had of influencing production. The prototype survived into the war years and was stored at Göttingen, where parts, including the seats and steering wheel, were gradually removed. After the war, Karl Schlör repeatedly tried to recover it from British military authorities. In August 1948, the car vanished from storage, presumably dismantled, presumably gone. The original vehicle was lost forever. That disappearance gives the Schlörwagen a strange, almost ghostly quality in history. It was real, it worked, it proved its point completely, and then it simply ceased to exist, leaving behind photographs, measurements, and the quiet reminder that a genuinely efficient future had briefly appeared and then slipped away. What makes the Schlörwagen matter today isn't just the unusual shape or the impressive numbers, it's what it demonstrated. It showed in the clearest possible terms how much efficiency mainstream automotive design was leaving on the table by treating the car's body as decoration rather than as an engineering problem. Modern designers face constraints Schlör never had to consider: crash protection, manufacturing cost, cooling, visibility. That's why modern cars don't look exactly like the Schlörwagen.
But the fact that modern cars still chase lower drag coefficients through smoother underbodies, hidden airflow management, and more integrated shapes tells you that Schlör wasn't wrong. He was just too early, and possibly too honest. The Schlörwagen was not a fantasy sketch, not a studio mock-up, not a PR stunt. It was a functioning car that outperformed the conventional machine it was built on in speed, in efficiency, and in interior space by taking aerodynamic logic seriously. It looked strange because real efficiency often does. Nature doesn't design for beauty, it designs for function, and the shapes that result from that process tend to look exactly like this. The Schlörwagen belongs in that category, one of those rare machines that forces you to ask a question we still haven't fully answered. What should a normal car even look like? If you want more forgotten machines and ideas that were ahead of their time, subscribe. There are plenty more ahead.